one thing I was going to ask is did you attempt the land speed record at some point?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So it was a production car record rather than like Thunderbird, like the whatever, the one that does like 1,000 mile an hour, kind of whatever it is.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to bring up loads of trauma now.
Oh God. Oh. What happened?
Oh, it was like probably the most stressful month of my life. It was to beat Koenigsegg's production speed record, which we'd attempted with me and a Koenigsegg before that, actually. So we had the UK one, but not the world one. So I'd done 245 mile an hour or 250 mile an hour, I can't remember, in a Koenigsegg, which was, again, we're talking about adrenaline, risk versus reward. Land speed records are absolutely on like the bottom of my list moving forwards, because you don't get the adrenaline from it. You know, doing 0 to 60 in a Tesla is more fun than doing 200 to 300 mile an hour in a straight line, because at that point, the only thing you're thinking is, if I crash at 250 mile an hour, I'm dead. I'm 100% dead.
Yeah.
100%. So especially where we were doing
Where were you doing it? Was it Salt Plains or something?
No, I wish. Because
you're not dead on, unless you roll.
Right. So yeah. So I saw your face when I said that, but we were doing it on Highway 11, which we'd closed down in Vegas, between Vegas and LA, which is where Koenigsegg had last done it, which is this slightly wavy, bumpy 2-lane road with a ditch either side into like the desert. So like it was.
So you could roll then.
Yeah. Probably. So it was a month out there with a company called SSC Tuatara. The car was genuinely incredible. I'd never been in something so quick. Like, it accelerated from 200 to 250, like a 911 Turbo S from 0 to 50. It was unbelievable. And there was it was, you know, Discovery Channel were there, and there was like huge filming budget behind it. We had jets in the sky, helicopters in the sky, full police closed down like Vegas. And like, it was an awesome gig. And I probably saw dollar signs as well, because I was like a well-paid gig, and I was like, this is good. This is going to be good for...
You're risking your life for that paycheck.
Yeah. I think paycheck was part of it, definitely. But it was also like the accreditation, the kind of fame that would come from having that. Credibility. Yeah. There you go. It's not the fame part, it's the credibility part. And then maybe I can make a career out of this. Maybe this can be my side gig. I can do a little bit more stunt driving that involves this. But... so yeah, we did all the practice that week, and I had this feeling in the back of my head, like, this car is doing this so easily. This is like so quick. But also, I when we're in race cars, you know, it feels different to a road car. They're so different. And I'd also race cars don't go as quick really as road cars. Top end anyway.
Top speed, yeah.
So I don't have that much experience knowing what a road car feels like at 500 kilometers an hour.
Was it not roll caged or anything?
It was roll caged.
Okay.
No, it wasn't. It was carbon tubbed. It wasn't roll caged. Yeah.
Right.
And also I remember me being told that, Michelin are going to like be here for everything, blah, blah, blah. And then when I got there, it was Michelin there. But the first thing they did is give me a sheet of paper that says, we're not responsible for anything that happens over 100 mile an hour.
Well, that's kind of the whole idea, isn't it?
Which wasn't on them. It was on the car company and the film and production who hadn't told me that, because Michelin have to do that.
Yeah.
They kind of do that and go, no, but we will. We're here for you to do this. Yeah. This is the whole point. We just legally, if you die, sign this.
Yeah.
Which is scary.
Which, if you die, who's going to sue them?
Well, yeah, exactly. That week during the testing, and I feel incredibly guilty that I don't remember the name, but I think it's because I blocked it out of my head. I think it's ES Motorsport, or the people who do all the big tuning here in the UK with the Porsches, attempted the same record the week we were doing it, and the guy died.
Shit.
Really? Okay.
And I think the production tried to keep that away from me, but it was in the news, and obviously I found out. So that wasn't great. My ex at the time was pregnant in a hotel down the road, thinking I was doing another race day.
No, you didn't tell her what you were doing.
I told her I was doing some driving.
No, you didn't say you were going to break the speed limit.
Break the land speed record.
So I was, the morning of, I was incredibly nervous, helicopters in the sky, jets around, it's 4 a.m. It's like, police are setting up barriers. Like I've still got, nothing's been released yet, and I have the whole movie on my phone because there's like a whole like case around it.
Give it to us exclusive.
Yeah. And the reason there's a whole case around it is because we ended up thinking we'd done it and being like a good 30 mile an hour short, which is a chunk, like 50 plus kph short. There's all sorts of conspiracies as to why it was so off. I'll get the end result is that the record ended up being redone and verified. It just had to be done at another time. So they now hold it again. But at the time, it was all this elation. Like every single motoring magazine or TV show that existed in the world published it. Like my phone was nonstop for like weeks. Yeah, it was absolutely everywhere. You know, TV interviews for it. It felt like it like was the Formula One championship at that point. It was incredible because it was like people love something attainable, and that is a road car that you can buy. So it's more like cool to be on Top Gear with that than racing. You know what it's like with racing. It's a bit more niche. Yeah. So it felt very special and very cool. It felt like the risk is done. Like I can breathe now. That's fine. And then I remember Tim Burton, Shmee150 online. He was the first person that called me, and he was like, I've been looking at the comparison because we did it on the exact same road that Koenigsegg did it with a driver I really respect. And he also kind of knew at this time. He's like, it doesn't add up. Like I've freeze framed it at all the points that you passed the same Koenigsegg, and like it's starting to drop behind. And I'm like really confused. And then Julian, who owns V-Box, so for any of us who know within racing, it's a data system that is extremely accurate. He'd done full calculations. He was like, no, it's way off. Like it's way off. It's not right. So then I had just had the next 2 weeks of then speaking to the car company, then the press coming, and then it slowly went out. And Tim's like, just so you know, I'm releasing this video, which is his business. Like, it's the equivalent of TMZ finding something out. They're going to, whether it's your friend or not, they're saying it. Yeah. And then it all started to come out. And of course, the press love a good story. So it's like fraudulent top speed run.
But sorry, how did they get the data? How did they, like, surely there's shitloads of data on the day. Like how
in the car,
there is. And then the car company then refused to release any data, and then immediately I was like, oh, this is bad. Either it's been faked, or they realized once they'd announced it wasn't right and tried to hide it. It was only one of those two options. So what did
they do? Just tell you afterwards that you'd done it, and everyone started celebrating?
Yeah, they checked their data,
but they didn't show you.
No, nothing. I just saw GoPro videos. I had the speed in the car.
What speed did you get to?
I had the speed in the car.
There was a fake speedometer.
Yeah,
800 miles an hour.
I'm going to have to check what speed. And my mind must have literally blanked this out. This is really bad. Yeah.
What roughly?
532 kilometers an hour.
Oh, kilometers.
331 mile an hour.
What did that feel like?
So, and it ended up being like 20 mile an hour less, whatever they ended up. So it's still quick enough.
Yeah.
In a road car, in the same way that they sell production cars like BAC Mono, which is a road legal car, but let's face it, it's like as close as you can get to. It pretty much had like a drag engine in the back of it. So it went from incredible elation to just the phone non-stop ringing, the son leaving me like voicemails like, if you don't answer, we're just going to print this anyway, so give us a quote. Yeah. So yeah, it was a pretty horrible time, but luckily it all came full circle, and I managed to stay fairly, I say fairly clean, and maybe I'm being too harsh on myself. I pretty much got zero backlash. I got the odd random message.
It's not your fault, is it?
No, but then it's people being like, how do you not feel the difference between 250 and 300?
Oh, come on.
And I'm like, I genuinely don't.
How many of the viewers have done 250? But what's it like coming away from your fraudulent land speed record? What's it like sat in the car doing, you sat there and you must be doing in excess of 250 for a long time to get to 320, 330, whatever it officially was, 310. Yeah. When you're sat there at 300 miles an hour plus, what is going through your mind?
Well, whatever speed I ended up doing, even if we call it 280, I think it ended up being. But the process is really strange building up to it. So it's such a different driving style. So you don't floor it away from the line, because we had an infinite road on this straight line. So it was about building the speed up really slowly so the turbo didn't heat up too quick to keep it cool.
Right.
Accelerating really smoothly to like 200 mile an hour, and then 200 mile an hour became your 0.
What?
And then from 200 you go full throttle.
I love that, accelerating really smoothly to 200 miles an hour.
Yeah. I mean, the thing...
So that's not even full throttle?
No, you could cruise to 200 so easy in this thing.
What?
It was scary. The weirdest part of the whole thing was once I got to... whatever, let's call it 290, 300 miles. Once you get to that point, you can't lift off because you'll lift off, it'll nosedive in the ditch. Dead. So you got to lift off super slowly. So the lifting off was the most horrible part. So I'm lifting off, and the thing is set up as light on its feet as it possibly can. The tire is at like 5 bar. The thing is like turned into like a coin. It's like centrifugal force of the tire is like unreal. So it's floating and you're like lifting, trying to like slowly settle it back down into where it is.
So are you constantly modulating the throttle as you're driving at 300?
Yeah, because all the wings are almost inverted to like generate lift because you want friction. So it's the opposite to try and give it grip, which is almost like trimming out an Indy 500 for the Indy cars. And then you get to a point where you're like, oh, I've done it. Like, it's done. And then you look down, you're like, I'm doing 180 mile an hour. It feels like I'm stood still.
Wow.
So your reference, and it's a really good example for when AM drivers first start racing, when you first take someone in the passenger seat and you first hit the brake, they've only ever braked up to a roundabout before that. And all of a sudden their head's going through the windscreen and it feels ridiculous. And then over time, everything just becomes normal. And that speed then became normal. So now for the next week when I was driving on the road, I just had to be so conscious that like 180 mile an hour is not a 30 zone anymore. Yeah, it was just strange.